Hello students, this is Dr. Amrish. Again welcomes you in the e-learning classes of anatomy. Students, in our previous classes we have discussed the osteology, myology and arthrology of upper limb and lower limb. So today we are going to start a new part of human body, that is the thoracic region. So what is thorax? Actually, thorax is an osteocartilaginous cage which lies in the upper part of the trunk and which protects the two vital organs of the body, that is the heart and lung. So why it is called an osteocartilaginous cage? Because this thoracic cage is partly made up of bones and partly made up of cartilage. In this picture you can see the thoracic cage. This thoracic cage is anteriorly formed by the sternum. On lateral side it is formed by the 12 ribs on either side, and posteriorly it is formed by the 12 thoracic vertebrae. And this blue color structure shows the cartilages, because these ribs, these osseous part of the ribs connects to the sternum with the help of these cartilages. That's why this junction is called as the costochondral junction. In this diagram you can see that the shape of the thorax is cylinder like, but the superior aperture of the thorax is narrow in comparison to the inferior aperture of the thorax. So superior thoracic aperture is narrower in comparison to the inferior thoracic aperture. As I told earlier that there are 12 pair of ribs. Out of these 12 pair of ribs, the upper 1 to 7th ribs are true ribs, and 8th to 12th rib are the false rib. The true ribs are also called as the vertebrosternal ribs, because these ribs are connected posteriorly to the vertebrae and anteriorly to the sternum, while the false ribs are posteriorly connected to the vertebral column, but anteriorly they are either the anterior ends are free or the anterior ends of the ribs are connected to the cartilages of the just upper rib. Means the 8th rib, anteriorly the 8th rib is connected to the cartilage of 7th rib. The 9th rib is anteriorly connected to the cartilage of 8th rib, and 10th rib, the anterior end of the 10th rib is connected to the cartilage of the 9th rib, while the anterior ends of the 11th and 12th rib are free. That's why the 11th and 12th rib are also called as the floating ribs, while the 8th, 9th and 10th ribs are also called as the vertebrochondral ribs. The space between the adjacent ribs is called as the intercostal spaces. So there are 12 ribs on each side of the sternum, and there are 11 intercostal spaces on each side of the sternum. Out of these 12 ribs, the first two ribs, first and second, and the last three ribs, 10th, 11th and 12th, these ribs are atypical ribs, because these ribs have special features. While the 3rd to 9th ribs are typical ribs because these ribs have common features. So what are the features of a typical rib? In this picture you can see a typical rib. A typical rib has a posterior end and a anterior end. The anterior end of a typical rib continues with the costal cartilage. Besides the posterior anterior end, there is a shaft of the typical rib. You can see that shaft of a typical rib is very much curved. Now, what are the features of the posterior end? The posterior end has a head, a neck and a tubercle. So head, neck and tubercle forms the posterior end of a rib. The head of a typical rib has two costal surfaces, two articular surfaces. This one is the upper articular surface and this one is the lower articular surface. This upper articular surface at the posterior end articulates with the vertebrae of next higher level, and the lower articular surface of the posterior end articulates with the concerned vertebrae or its own vertebrae. Means if it is a 4th rib, suppose this is a 4th typical rib, then the upper articular surface, this surface articulates with the 3rd thoracic vertebrae, and this lower articular surface will articulate with the 4th thoracic vertebrae. The next part of the posterior end is the neck. You can see that this is the neck part of the posterior end. The neck is short and flat region, and it separates the head from the tubercle. As you can see in this diagram that the neck has two surfaces. This one is the anterior surface and the posterior surface, and two borders, upper border and the lower border. The superior border of the neck is also called crest, and it is thin, and the inferior border is usually rounded. Now comes the third part of the posterior end, and that is the tubercle. You can see in this diagram that tubercle lies on the outer surface of the rib at the junction of the neck and the shaft. In this diagram you can see this tubercle. Now this tubercle has two parts, an articular part and a non-articular part. This articular part lies on the medial side and the non-articular surface or part of the tubercle lies on the lateral side. This articular part or articulates with the transverse process of the corresponding vertebrae. Now comes the second part of the rib, that is the shaft. The shaft is generally thin and flat. That's why it has an outer surface, or you can say the external surface, and the inner surface, or you can say the internal surface. Outer surface and inner surface, or you can say the external surface or the internal surface. It has two borders, the upper border and this one is the lower border. You can see that the shaft is not straight. The shaft of the ribs are not straight, but they are curved, and the point where there is a curve in the shaft of the rib is called the angle, and this angle usually lies approximately 4 to 5 centimeter lateral to the tubercle. Now students, please pay attention on the inner surface of the rib, you can see that on the inner surface, just near to the inferior border, you can see a groove which is called as the costal groove. So there is a costal groove on the inner surface just near to the inferior border. This costal grooves contains the vessels neurovascular bundle, means the vessels, posterior intercostal vessels, posterior intercostal artery and posterior intercostal vein, and the intercostal nerves. So these neurovascular bundle lies in the costal groove. Now comes the third part of the rib, that is the anterior end. So this one is the anterior end of the rib, and this anterior end of the rib is oval and concave, which articulates with the costal cartilage. So costal cartilage articulates with the anterior end of the rib, and ultimately this costal cartilage articulates with the sternum. So this is all about the features of a typical rib. Now we will study the atypical ribs, the features of the atypical ribs. As I told earlier that upper one, first and second rib and lower three ribs, 10th, 11th, 12th ribs are atypical ribs. So this is a atypical rib and this is a first rib. The first rib is the shortest rib and it is broadest rib also, and most curved rib. As the first rib is flat, so the surfaces of the first ribs are not external and internal surface, while it has a superior surface and an inferior surface, and the borders are outer border and the inner border. The first rib also has the head, neck and tubercle parts, but the head has only one articular surface which articulates with the first thoracic vertebrae. Like other ribs, the tubercle has a facet for articulation with the transverse process of the first thoracic vertebrae. Now please pay attention to the superior surface of the first rib. You can see that there is a tubercle on the superior surface of the first rib, which is called as the scalene tubercle, and there are two grooves. One groove is posterior to the scalene tubercle and one groove is anterior to the scalene tubercle. So there are two grooves which are separated by the scalene tubercle on the superior surface of the first. This anterior groove is formed by the subclavian vein and the posterior groove is formed by the subclavian artery. Now comes the second rib. The length of the second rib is approximately twice that of the first rib, and the second rib is also very sharply curved like that of the first rib, and just like the first rib, the second rib has also no twist, but second rib articulates with the vertebral column just like a typical rib, means the posterior end has two articular surfaces. One articular surface articulates with the next higher vertebrae and the lower articular surface articulates with the corresponding vertebrae. Now in this diagram you can see this one is shows as the 12th rib. This one is the 12th rib, and as I told earlier that 11th and 12th rib are floating ribs because the anterior end of the ribs do not articulate with sternum, or neither it articulates with the costal cartilage. The 11th and 12th ribs are comparatively short and they have pointed ends. You can see in this picture that the anterior end of the 11th or 12th rib is pointed, while the anterior end of the first rib and second rib are quite broad, and there is absence of neck and tubercle in the 11th and 12th ribs, and the angles and costal grooves are poorly developed in the 11th rib and absent in the 12th rib. So students, this is all about the features of the ribs. In our next class we will study the another bone, that is the sternum. So thank you very much for patience hearing. Thank you.